And a very happy Monday to you at 12:06 in the West. Randy and I are broadcasting live from Santa Fe, New Mexico this week. Randy, you are in New Mexico.
I'm downstairs from you. Johnny, 2 of the 3 unions that are threatening to strike at LAUSD reached a deal over the weekend.
Get that money!
But if the 3rd union, the SEIU, doesn't get a deal by
Tuesday,
the strike is gonna happen.
and I want you to be all the way pissed off.
So we have that to look forward to. What a weekend it has been in the world of California politics, where on Friday's program, the news was broken wide open of California Congressman and candidate for governor Eric Swalwell's alleged sexual abuse, assault of female staffers, of interns, of those who have been in his orbit for years and years and years. As we signed off on Friday's program, he was embattled and he was losing his allies right and left. Well, today, Randy, we can report that he has officially suspended his campaign.
It has been a very, very, very long 48 hours from Friday around 1:30 when the story initially broke in the San Francisco Chronicle. After we signed off the air at 3 o'clock on Friday, there were several prominent people calling for him to drop out. More stories were dropping. There was a story in Politico. Then CNN has an interview with one of the staffers. I think it's the same woman that was interviewed in the Chronicle, but they have a video of it, including 4 other staffers that were corroborating the story. Eric Swalwell puts out this video that apparently none of his staffers knew about from Stephen Klubeck's house, saying that all of this is untrue and he's going to fight these allegations. Then Eric Swalwell hires some crazy attorney to go fight with Alex Michelson on CNN, and that went everywhere. And then almost immediately, as Sunday was rolling around, the Swalwell campaign said, nope, this thing is over. His campaign staffers were quitting left and right. His congressional staffers were quitting left and right. And now you have Eric Swalwell not only dropping out of the race, but seeing a lot of calls to either resign or get thrown out of Congress and possibly be prosecuted in New York, because that's where one of the alleged rapes happened.
And on Friday, when we were going through the details of what was in that San Francisco Chronicle bombshell, the details were so sexually explicit that we essentially had to play a game of charades, which is hard to do on the radio, to explain to you just exactly what was being alleged.
For more on everything that's been going on with Eric Swalwell in the last 48 hours, here is ABC 7.
Now to the political bombshell shaking up the race for California governor just weeks ahead of the primary. Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell's abrupt exit over allegations of sexual assault.
The California Democratic Party says it's now too late to remove Eric Swalwell's name from the ballot. One of the big questions tonight, what will happen tomorrow when Congress returns to Washington? Bipartisan.
Boy, they get a long break.
Oh, yeah, no kidding.
Bipartisan demands for Swalwell to resign grow by the hour. Tonight, there are even talks of expulsion.
Support for Eric Swalwell collapsed under criminal allegations of sexual assault. Sunday evening, after a weekend of silence, Swalwell suspended his campaign for California governor in a social media post, writing, "To my family, staff, friends, and supporters, I am deeply sorry for mistakes in judgment I've made in my past."
And it's so interesting seeing the drip, drip, drip of how this thing evolved from the simplest things of like his Act Blue page got disabled and his website got changed so there was no donate button. And
well, they had to respond quickly. I mean, he was getting Cesar Chavez'd over the course of an afternoon.
Well, and people that are in the media buying industry were freaking out because you're on a Friday afternoon having to all of a sudden cancel millions and millions of dollars of ad buys for Swalwell by independent expenditures, including organizations like the California Teachers Association being like, oh, we don't want to buy those. Never mind.
How fast can they do that? Because I would imagine that some stations played Eric Swalwell ads all weekend long.
I wonder if someone like Swalwell has like a standing order. If there's any open availability, excuse me, not Swalwell, Steyer has a standing order. If there's any open availability, I'll buy a spot.
Well, he's certainly all over the airwaves.
I will fight the serious false allegations that have been made, but that's my fight, not a campaign's.
So he still won't admit it, even when you have so many corroborating stories. And I still don't know what's going on with that video that's going everywhere on social media of him in the hotel room with somebody.
Yeah, that was Martin Shkreli that posted that on X, and he is alleging that it's Swalwell with a hooker and some other guy. I guess they had some kind of rotisserie going.
Oh, boy. Now, Johnny, you be careful.
4 women, some former staffers, are accusing Swalwell of sexual assault and inappropriate conduct.
They all have the same starter. He reached out to me on Snapchat.
Late at night, too. It sounds like he's a raging alcoholic.
According to the San Francisco Chronicle and CNN, ABC News has not independently confirmed those allegations. Friday, one former staffer told CNN Swalwell sexually assaulted her twice, once when she worked for him in 2019 and a second time in New York City in 2024.
That's the one where afterwards she told her boyfriend and she went to a doctor's office to get a pregnancy test and an STD test, and there's documentation for both of those,
which she provided to the newspaper.
In my flash that I can recall, I was pushing him off of me saying no. And what did he do? He didn't stop.
Tonight, another accuser told ABC News Swalwell sent her nude photos on Snapchat.
Oh.
That also seemed to be something he was fond of doing.
Late Friday night,
Nobody actually wants that. You might get a certain feeling from sending it out, but nobody's asking for the Swalwell picture.
Well, certainly not unsolicited. He was just sending these things to random people.
Late Friday night, Swalwell posted a forceful denial.
These allegations of sexual assault are flat false.
This is the one he was videotaping without any one of his campaign even knowing, when he was hiding out at Stephen Klubeck's house. Stephen Klubeck was the billionaire running for governor who dropped out when Swalwell got in and threw all his support behind Swalwell. How pissed off is that guy?
Okay, isn't he living with a porn star at his house who was accused of picking pockets in green rooms when she was a guest on different talk shows?
Wait, that's that same girl? I have not independently verified that that was connected to Klubeck, but I'm going to do some digging during the break.
I think that's his girlfriend, and I think that's who's in the house with them.
Oh, boy.
These allegations of sexual assault are flat false. They're absolutely false.
Hours after that video, the district attorney in Manhattan opened a criminal investigation into those allegations.
Because that one was only in 2024. Statute of limitations is open, and there were some incredibly descriptive details about what happened there.
Oh, he could go to Rikers Island.
I don't think anyone expected that Swalwell would be the one to leave this race.
Swalwell's swift exit from the California governor's race just 7 weeks ahead of the primary leaves a crowded field of Democratic contenders now clamoring to claim campaign donations and endorsements that are up for grabs.
If you're CTA, do you even re-endorse, or you're like, we've already been embarrassed once, let's stay out of it?
Well, right now what you're trying to do is just scrub any association with this guy.
Well, and if you remember that process with the California Teachers Association, it wasn't as simple as, oh, we're all behind Swalwell. It took several votes to get there, and it was going back and forth between Swalwell and Steyer and Swalwell and Steyer, and finally said, screw it, let's go behind Swalwell. Oh, how pissed off are they?
Well, which educator at that meeting decided to endorse Swalwell? Jerry Sandusky?
Jim Newton is editor of UCLA's Blueprint magazine.
I think at the moment I would give the edge to Steyer, just by virtue of money and positioning. He and Swalwell were sort of locked in contention for the lead spot.
The difference between me and the top candidates.
Hey, it's Tony.
There he is.
No, peanut.
Spot.
The difference between me and the top candidate is 7 points.
Former LA Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa says now is the time when voters tune in.
35.
Well, especially after this bombshell weekend.
Oh, yeah, and it may not be over yet, too.
35% of the electorate are undecided. And the fact is, they're only now starting to zero in on the race.
Tonight, it's not just
If you weren't paying attention 6 months ago when the Katie Porter video came out,
I'm running for governor because I'm a leader.
and you weren't paying attention with all the other drama surrounding this race,
Get out of my shop.
you are paying attention now.
Oh, the state of California has 1,000,001 problems. What voters deserve is an in-depth, robust discussion as to who has the best solutions to fix our problems. That we're not getting. What we are getting is a season of the Hunger Games.
Tonight, it's not just Eric Swalwell's bid for governor in danger, with Republicans planning to force a vote to expel him from Congress next week. The Democrat,
Although that is a bipartisan supported idea right now, along with a whole bunch of other bad members of Congress from both sides of the aisle.
They're just taking out the trash, huh?
the Democrat, once seen as a possible rising star in the ranks, is now fighting for his very political survival.
2/3 of the House would need to approve the measure tonight. Even some Democrats say they're on board.
And Swalwell's abrupt exit will inevitably help other candidates in that crowded field of Democrats. Reporter J.R. Stone from our Bay Area sister station continues our coverage tonight. He sat down with former Assembly Speaker Willie Brown asking which...
Hey, Willie's in this story.
There's our guy.
He sat down with former Assembly Speaker Willie Brown asking which candidates Swalwell's exit will benefit the most.
Is it too late for Willie to throw his hat in the ring?
Yes.
Former San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown is one of the most politically connected individuals in the state of California. He had lots to say about Eric Swalwell and the California governor candidates when I spoke with him before dinner on Sunday night.
No, I'm not surprised, frankly, because there have been rumors after rumors after rumors. His colleague in Washington pretty much said that.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah. All of us saw this mob hit coming.
Brown tells me when it comes to the allegation.
How many dinners in North Beach has the topic of Eric Swalwell and his antics been discussed by all of the political elite?
Well, I'm sure there have been some discussions about Katie Porter and her bipolarness, too.
Brown tells me when it comes to the allegations against Swalwell, the fact that they were just 6 years ago is a big deal. He says that former Los Angeles Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa has the most experience out of all the candidates.
Well, he's the oldest.
Tony V's been around a while.
So, yes, he does have the most experience because he's been around for a very, 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 very long time.
He says that former Los Angeles Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa has the most experience out of all the candidates, but still hasn't polled well.
There may very well be an indication by Democrats from all over the state that Swalwell's exit gives an opportunity to Katie Porter,
Hey, Willie's shouting out Katie Porter.
Can you imagine what he must say about her behind the scenes?
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
gives an opportunity to Katie Porter, gives an opportunity to Tom Steyer, gives an opportunity to my buddy Antonio, gives an opportunity to 3 or 4 other people.
Brown and other experts that I spoke with believe that Katie Porter may benefit the most here. She started out.
And I don't know if you've seen what happened on Twitter over the weekend where Katie Porter puts out a post how the party should unify around her after this Swalwell scandal. And she got community noted, Johnny.
Well, she deserved it. She was the one that slam dunked a bowl of steaming hot mashed potatoes right on Dad's head.
You can smell it right here.
She started out ahead of many others, but dropped considerably over clips of her being pretty unpleasant to her staff.
And that one political strategist, the one who initially was teasing as soon as Eric Swalwell got in the race that something is coming out, people know things. He also over the weekend tweeted out that, Katie, we're coming for you next.
Oh, the next mob hit is for her, and you can take that to the bank.
Get out of my shop.
And members of the media. In San Francisco, J.R. Stone, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
So there you go. That is the latest. Swalwell is out of the governor's race. He could be facing prosecution in New York for the alleged sexual assault, and he may even expel from Congress if he doesn't do the right thing and just resign, because there's no way you're surviving this.
When the mob hit happens on Katie Porter, what videotapes do you think they're going to release?
Well, if it's more of her yelling at staffers, we've seen that. We know that. I don't think that's going to have as much play as it did back in September, when now you have somebody in the race that's being accused of far worse.
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be her being abusive to staffers. She could be kicking dear old dad right in the crotch, and that could be on video. We haven't seen domestic violence sprinkled into this race yet.
So you think there's video out there of Katie Porter being violent?
Don't believe the BS.
Well, it could be a sex tape.
Oh, just stop it right there. It's lunchtime.
Maybe she was with another one of our listeners.
Now the email is going to be flooded with people asking us to play that thing yet again.
It's a possibility. All I know is I can't wait, because while we know what's coming next, we don't know exactly what it is. But Katie, the bell tolls for thee. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, if you missed Friday's episode when we learned about the allegations against Eric Swalwell in real time, you definitely want to go back and find out what you missed out on.
We reacted to the news in real time, and then I read the entire story with all of the details in real time, and it is definitely worth a listen as we react to the implosion of Eric Swalwell's political future. So check out the second and third hour from Friday's show. The Eric Swalwell story drops, and the Swalwell allegations are beyond disturbing. And while you're at it, why don't you also have fun with the first hour, which was Bob Bonta finally getting into the hospice fraud game.
Bob Bonta.
Search for The John Phillips Show wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's the Apple Podcast app, iHeart, Spotify. Search for The John Phillips Show, hit subscribe, and download all the episodes. You can also get one of our apps like the KABC app or the KSFO app, and you can listen live to this show wherever you are and download all the podcasts and listen whenever you want.
In the meantime, what do you say we make a couple of listeners very happy?
Well, let's do that right now. The LA County Fair is back May 7th through the 31st. Don't miss the country's largest county fair and the best entertainment in Southern California. Tickets are on sale at lacountyfair.com. But right now, caller number 9 at 1-888-790-5222. That's 1-888-790-5222. Gets a pair of tickets to see War on Friday, May 9th at the LA County Fair. Tickets furnished by the LA County Fair. Good luck dialing.
Well, as we told you before, it was reported that Eric Swalwell has been hiding out at the home of mega rich guy Stephen Klubeck, who at one point in time was a candidate for governor himself. Then he decided to drop out and get behind Eric Swalwell, which I guess is better than being in front of Eric Swalwell. But that's a different story for a different day. Anyway, apparently those two have now had a falling out.
And I don't think Swalwell is allowed to be staying at Klubeck's Beverly Hills mansion anytime soon. NBC4 caught up with Klubeck to see what he thinks about all this nonsense. Here is NBC LA.
He was a rising star in the Democratic Party, a frequent guest on MS Now, formerly MSNBC. The party leadership picked him for high-profile assignments. Swalwell served as one of the House prosecutors in the second impeachment trial of Donald Trump.
Eric's a man of integrity.
That aged like milk.
A man of character, values.
Timeshare billionaire Stephen Klubeck ended his campaign for governor.
Wait a second. Klubeck made his money in timeshares?
Okay, that actually explains a lot.
Okay, what's more offensive? That Steyer made his money in private prisons, or that Klubeck made his money in timeshares?
I don't know, but if you're looking for someone with character, you're going to have to throw in Larry Flint to find someone.
ended his campaign for governor to endorse Swalwell, spending an estimated $1 million on his campaign. He invited Swalwell to spend part of the weekend at Klobeck's Beverly Hills estate. Klobeck speaking this evening exclusively with NBC4.
I was very concerned for his mental health. He needed a couple of hugs, okay?
Well, that's what got him in trouble in the first place.
Yep.
As for allegations against his friend,
I am disturbed, and I cannot support Eric Swalwell anymore.
One of the 4 women who have accused Swalwell of wrongdoing is Democratic influencer Ali Samarco. She told NBC News Swalwell's inappropriate behavior with her began when she was 24 and trying to get a job in Congress. She says Swalwell sent her an unsolicited picture of his penis.
Whoa!
Oh, Conan Nolan. That's some delivery right there.
I love the fact that he didn't sugarcoat it at all. He just went right for a bite at the apple.
She says Swalwell sent her an unsolicited picture of his penis over Snapchat and told her he wanted to kiss her following one of their in-person interactions.
This guy is so gross.
And once you see those clips of the sex tape, the guy has no game.
I don't want to know what you're reading into there, so I'm going to move on.
Swalwell has denied an allegation of sexual assault. His departure has thrown open the race for governor. Fernando Guerra of Loyola Marymount University.
If you think about the type of positions that Swalwell took, his type of support, it's really a Katie Porter type of...
It seems like there's a lot of people out there who think that Katie Porter is behind this. But I think it was Villaraigosa.
Well, it's the strategist who's tied to and supporting Villaraigosa that's like, hey, it was me, and I deleted that tweet because I didn't want this thing to pop too soon.
Admirable.
He waited until Swalwell officially filed for the race before, I guess, dropping the bombs that he had.
And Swalwell did give him a cease and desist letter when the tweet went out.
Yes.
It's really a Katie Porter type of support.
Here's the good news in all of this. We are starting to see that NDAs are not enforceable and cease and desist letters don't work.
Nope.
It's really a Katie Porter type of support. It also opens it up in terms of San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan, who's a little bit more moderate. It helps every...
And Mahan's been doing all the TV shows over the weekend.
But he's doing the wrong ones, though. He was on Morning Joe again. Okay, fine. Go on Morning Joe. That's at 3 o'clock in the morning in California. No one is watching that. Why are you talking to people in Washington and New York and not to people in California? Whoever is giving him advice now is giving him awful advice.
He did do Conan Nolan on Sunday. So he did do the local interview in Los Angeles talking specifically about this. But yes, going on MS Now with Morning Joe is a complete waste of your time.
And then he went on CNN with Casey Hunt.
Who's a little bit...
Well, that's where Katie Porter went to drop the bombs when she was the first person to say the phrase sexual assault. And we're all like, what do you know?
That's very true.
Who's a little bit more moderate. It helps every single candidate because now there are votes to go out and get.
Tony Thurmond, you might even get one of those votes.
It's possible.
The state Democratic Party was concerned that too many Democrats in the race would divide the vote, leading to 2 Republicans winning the primary and therefore the November runoff. Tonight, the field was whittled down, but not the way the party had expected or clearly wanted.
No, Rusty Hicks wanted all of the low performers to drop out. And you've got to imagine that because so many people knew about this, that the leader of the California Democratic Party must have known about Swalwell and known that he was a ticking time bomb, but still told Betty Yee to get out of the race.
Well, and it just goes to show you what kind of awful judgment that guy has, because he's telling all of these low-performing candidates to get out so the alleged rapist can have the floor to himself.
Interesting development. You mentioned earlier today that this was expected either today or tomorrow. Given now the impact on the race, how does this impact the 2 Republicans?
Well, interesting you bring that up. Today, it just so happened that they had the state Republican convention in San Diego this weekend. They were reveling in all this, by the way. Donald Trump could not stand Eric Swalwell. And it required 60% of the delegates to endorse one of the two candidates, Steve Hilton or the Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco. It turned out neither candidate got the endorsement. In fact, Chad Bianco.
It's just like the California Democrat convention. It ends with no endorsement on the top.
No, it's why I don't understand why everyone in the state isn't paying close attention to this race. Even if you're not into politics, this is the most fascinating thing in town.
It turned out neither candidate got the endorsement. In fact, Chad Bianco, the Riverside Sheriff, got more delegate votes, get it closer to that 60%, than Steve Hilton did. And Hilton's the guy that Donald Trump endorsed. So clearly, I'm not sure how much to read into this. Maybe the delegates believe you want two Republicans at the top because that's the only way you're going to become governor. Or they just said, we don't care what Donald Trump says. The sheriff's our guy.
Well, Swalwell, many of his colleagues have asked him to leave Congress, but you were pointing out he's done in January.
He's done in January. He can't run for re-election because
he doesn't really show up there much often anyway.
No, doesn't he miss more votes than even some members of Congress who died?
Yes.
He's done in January.
And in fact, what's really funny right now is, and this is really kicking somebody when they're down, Steyer has ads going against Swalwell for being on vacation all the time and not being in Congress. And even though Swalwell dropped out of the race, those Steyer ads are still running today.
Well, talk about kicking a guy when he's down. Just call him Pele.
So what does Steyer do now? Does he have ads ready to go after Katie? Because that's the next one in his way.
Oh, that would be must-see TV.
He's done in January. He can't run for re-election because he's signed on to run for governor, but he could. It's going to be tough. And one of the interesting aspects of this is that Eric Swalwell is not a rich man. One of the reasons you stay in Congress is that you need the paycheck. So you may get clearly members of Congress who are going.
Well, he has a lot more debt than most members of Congress, and a lot of people have alleged that maybe it's because they were payoffs with some of the other women he's been doing this to.
Well, not a good time to become an unemployable pariah.
So you may get clearly members of Congress who are going to ask for him to be tossed out because of this, certainly censured. And will he go? And what does that mean to the slim majority the Republicans have? That's something the Democrats don't want to see happen. But they may have no choice.
All right, Conan, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
So there you go. The latest on Swalwell, including Stephen Klubeck, the billionaire who ran for governor that dropped out to endorse Swalwell, kicked him out of his house. Let's go to Eddie in Danville. Eddie, hello.
Hello.
Hey there.
This is John in Long Beach, not Eddie in Danville.
All
Close
right.
enough. Let's go to
You're
John
up.
in Long Beach.
I read a story on TMZ that one of his former neighbors' husband is kind of not too happy with him and thinking about suing him for harassing his wife constantly. Now, whether that was a true story or not, I don't know, but it might be worth looking into. And wasn't the attorney who read the initial statement about these women coming out with this, wasn't she a former student of Katie Porter at UCI? I think I read that somewhere also.
I believe so. Now, if you want to investigate whether or not Eric Swalwell harassed the wife of his neighbor, the first thing you need to find out is if the wife is on Snapchat.
Okay, one other quick thing. Now, I'm over here in Long Beach, and there's a big scandal getting ready to break wide open here in Long Beach about a company, nonprofit, that's getting 30 to 40 million to house the homeless. Now, somebody who's running against Rex Richardson for mayor went out and investigated these places and found out that the true occupancy of them is way lower than what they've stated, and they were still getting paid for it. And just the other day, the city canceled the contract. I can't remember the name of it, but if you look the Long Beach Post, the Long Beach News, or a website called Long Beach Politics. It's got all the information on there, and it's going to be very interesting. And this thing that's going on now in California with the governor, oh, my goodness. I mean, you couldn't write stuff like this.
No, you can't. And we are certainly happy to be the narrators of this train wreck. Thank you so much for the call. I appreciate it. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you're monitoring the mailbag.
Selma Wally writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. Randy and John, making money from selling chime shares is worse than building private prisons. Why? You can, in time, actually get out of a private prison.
Very good point. All right. Over the weekend, California Republicans met in San Diego to find out if they could come to a consensus on who to get behind for governor. And Randy, that didn't happen.
They endorsed for all different kinds of races statewide up and down the ballot, but when it came to the governor, nobody could get that 60 delegate threshold. For more, here's ABC 10 in Sacramento.
We're continuing our coverage of politics. The California Republican Party statewide endorsement convention just wrapped up in San Diego. The mission for delegates to vote on which candidates for federal, state, and local offices they want the party to endorse for the June primary election. ABC 10 State Matters political reporter Jenny Hutt was at the convention all weekend and has a recap of the key takeaways for us.
What didn't happen was an answer to the looming question, will the California Republican Party formally back a candidate for governor ahead of the June primary? Neither Steve Hilton nor Chad Bianco got the 60% or more of the votes.
That is surprising because you understood why no one could get it in the Democrat convention because there were 10 different candidates. But you really had only 2 here, and still it was 50-50.
Well, I wonder if there is an element of they can't come to a consensus, so no one gets the endorsement, but also an element of we really do want to split our vote about as close to 50-50 as we can. So if we issue no endorsement, then we're not really giving our people any direction at all, and hopefully that's the way it ends up.
So you're going with the, if you have an even-numbered street, you vote for Hilton. If it's an odd-numbered street, you vote for Bianco.
There you go.
Neither Steve Hilton nor Chad Bianco got the 60% or more of the votes required to secure that endorsement. It's just like the Democrats back in February when they...
And there's like 12 Republicans running. I wonder if any of them got any votes.
Well, there's 2 that people know, and the rest of them are gadflies.
When they could not consolidate behind one candidate either.
Neither candidate has reached a 2/3 threshold.
The California...
She sounds excited.
Whoa, take your face away from that microphone, lady.
Neither candidate has reached a 2/3 threshold.
The California
technology capital and the entertainment capital of the world is California. But when it comes to politics, nobody does sound checks. Nobody has working microphones. The acoustics are terrible in so many of these town halls. It's the same thing over and over again.
Well, if your job is to run the Keno game in Laughlin, that woman won't be taking your job anytime soon.
The California Republican Party will not back a candidate for governor in the June primary election. Neither former Fox News host Steve Hilton nor Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco receiving the needed 60% or more of votes. Bianco getting 49%, Hilton 44%.
Okay, how much drinking goes on at that convention?
Not so much during the day, but at night when they have the booths where everyone's trying to get you to come in so that you will support whatever candidate is running for whatever audience, whatever office rather. What they do is they have open bars. That's when everyone's blitzed.
I don't know if it was a lack of endorsement. It was a couldn't decide. And it's we're happy. And we're very
I'm happy that I didn't get picked. Okay, Chad.
And we're very confident we'll be occupying the governor's office in January.
But did you not come into the convention thinking you would secure the party endorsement, especially after the president's endorsement?
We thought that Chad Bianco had it in the bag. That's because he's an insider. He's been playing the inside game.
Hilton can't help himself. He's got to throw as much shade as he can at Bianco every chance he can.
Hey, they're working the same corner.
He sent mailers to all the delegates the day before the convention saying, don't trust BLM Bianco.
For a long time, and so we feel that we made some great progress here, and I'm the leading candidate for change.
We spoke to both Hilton and Bianco supporters. Some predicted there would not be an endorsement because of divided support.
It's going to be too close. I don't think there will be an endorsement.
What does it say that there's so much excitement over both candidates?
Because they're Republicans and we need a change.
Others adamant they know who they want as governor.
I don't have any problem with Steve except that he should not be our governor.
When you look at the comparisons like
I don't have any problem with him, but he shouldn't be the governor.
when you look at the comparisons like apples and oranges.
We need someone that can win the general election, not just the primary.
The policies of Steve Hilton.
The differences are pretty stark. You have bald and no facial hair, and just the most facial hair, biggest mustache you've ever seen.
Yeah, he's got that Wyatt Earp mustache going.
We need someone that can win the general election, not just the primary.
The policies of Steve Hilton that is also aligned with President Trump, especially on the immigration.
Another question, how did President Trump's endorsement of Steve Hilton a week ago influence California Republicans?
They didn't like it.
Well, it wasn't enough to get him the party endorsement.
I'm sure it raised him up a little bit higher than what he should have been.
Of course, the endorsement that really matters happened last Sunday, which was the president.
Multiple Republicans.
Yeah, but you would have liked the party endorsement too, Steve.
Well, it's like toys and cereal boxes. You want to collect them all.
Multiple Republicans suggesting the endorsement will not help Hilton, especially in a state like California.
I like President Trump as a president, and in California, his endorsement just hurts us.